Welcome back to the Citizens Defending Freedom show. Coming up today, we will talk about how one Texas county is showing support for the sheriff's department and how a Texas school district bused underage students to the polls. All of that and more is ahead on today's show. But first, before we get started, head to our website, citizensdefendingfreedom.com, and hit the subscribe button to make sure you don't miss out on any of our content. Across the country, jails and prisons have been facing ongoing staffing shortages. Staff turnover rates are incredibly high, and with our nation's incarcerated population seeing an increase of 500% over the last 40 years, staff retention is becoming a priority. These staffing shortages are being felt deeply throughout the nation, with one county in Texas finally taking action to do something about it. In August, the Denton County Commissioner's Court voted in favor of giving all Denton County Sheriff's Department employees a 14% raise, with an additional 14% to be given during the next fiscal year. This is a huge win for Denton County and for the Sheriff's Department. Citizens took a stand for a better working condition and a fair wage and made a difference. The vote comes after Sheriff's Department employees, citizens in the community, and members of Denton County Citizens Defending Freedom have spoken up about the dire situation the county jail is facing. Staff within the jail are leaving in droves, and Denton County Sheriff Tracy Murphy states that many are leaving and obtaining employment at the popular gas station chain Buc-ee's. Conditions at the detention center, according to an individual closely associated with the inner workings of the center, have become dangerous. Detention officers are working a mandatory 60 hours a week and have been doing this going on 3 years. Those officers endure repeated exposure to meningitis and other dangerous diseases, inmates rubbing feces on themselves, the walls, and throwing it on others, as well as physical and verbal abuse. The situation with staffing has led to other employees of the Sheriff's Department, such as patrol and warrant deputies, taking shifts to assist the jail. This has led to a shortage of officers on duty to help the community with local emergencies. Melinda Preston, Executive Director for Denton County Citizens Defending Freedom, went before the Commissioner's Court in June to read the concerning letter to the members of the court and citizens at large.
Guys, we've got to pay these people what they are worth. They're worth a lot more money than they're making. And we need to make it, I've heard they go to Buc-ee's because Buc-ee's is such a great environment. It's happy. They make a lot of money. But guys, we got to keep them in our system. And not only that, I have visited. It stinks in there. If you've been in that place, it smells like feces. It smells. It's a terrible place to work. We need to straighten it up and give them a reason to want to come to work.
Let's keep law enforcement where they want to be, in our cities, to protect our citizens. The Fort Worth Independent School District has come under fire for busing unregistered and underage students to local polling locations. In November of 2022, the school district partnered with March to the Polls, a Texas nonprofit whose stated mission is to substantially increase electoral participation by underrepresented communities, primarily youth and people of color, to bus hundreds of students to multiple polling locations to meet and greet Democrat candidates and vote in local elections. The field trips were chaotic and disorganized, and many of the students who participated in these trips were either not registered to vote or did not have valid registration due to errors or failure to meet registration deadlines. Worse still, some students who participated were under the legal voting age of 18. Neither the Tarrant County Elections Administrator nor any polling locations were made aware of these field trips prior to the students' arrival, which led to the disruptive scenes that took place at polling locations during the election. Amy Super, a deputy lead poll clerk for Tarrant County, filed grievances against the school district. In a public Level 3 grievance hearing that was held to address Super's filed grievances, Texas attorney Paul Davis, a partner attorney with Citizens Defending Freedom, revealed that March to the Polls supposedly paid for the field trip, but the organization disclosed that only $873.80 was donated for a minimum of 13 schools to send buses to the polls. Interesting enough, as of March 2023, March to the Polls, who visited 57 Texas campuses and registered over 6,000 students to vote in 2022, has no reported assets, income, or revenue. After the Level 3 hearing was moved into a closed executive session for counsel with their attorney, The district reconvened into an open meeting and ultimately voted to require that all future polling location field trips were to be coordinated between the superintendent and the Tarrant County Elections Administrator. We are now with Kenya Alu, Executive Director of Tarrant County Citizens Defending Freedom. Kenya, could you go into more detail about who exactly paid for this field trip?
Sure. According to Fort Worth ISD, March to the Polls, which is an organization and a nonprofit, paid for this field trip. That said, the amount that they told us that was paid, I believe it was $870, is the total amount that they claim was paid to bus students to over 13 poll sites. So we're talking bus drivers get paid, wear and tear on the bus. We're talking about substitute teachers for the students that were left behind. The claim that only $870 was needed to pay for that type of field trip in that magnitude, it's not adding up. Let's just say that.
Can you tell us more about the level 3 grievance?
Yeah, so this is actually a win because in every other grievance that I've seen, the board generally provides no response. The whole grievance closes, there's no response, they adjourn the meeting. We really pushed them to give a response. And I believe that because we had representation with our attorney, that they gave us one. And the response is going to provide some accountability. They are requiring any field trip, when it involves going to the polls, they are requiring that the superintendent schedule that with the Tarrant County Elections Administrator. And that is a huge win because we have accountability there. We got a response. Now, when these field trips are scheduled, we will know in advance. We will be able to know where the buck stops, basically.
Thank you, Kenya. Finally, we wanted to take a moment to highlight an amazing event that was held recently by Nueces County Citizens Defending Freedom with special guest Dinesh D'Souza. Citizens of Nueces received updates and exciting news about the work that is being accomplished in their county. Take a look. Before we go, we want to leave you with our inspirational Bible verse of the week. This week's verse is Hebrews 2:18. Because he himself was tested through what he suffered, he is able to help those who are being tested. As you can see, Citizens Defending Freedom is doing important work. Help us today in our fight to protect children and push back against these radical ideologies. Please visit citizensdefendingfreedom.com where you can learn more about our organization and generously contribute to our cause. Have a great day and make sure to like us on social media and tell your friends about the great things we're doing. God bless.